Happy holidays, everybody, and Tony here with a tribute to a Christmas special from an animated incarnation of Batman that I used to express a lot of skepticism towards, but nowadays, as a grown up, I have learned to appreciate it, cherish it, treasure it, and hold it extremely close to my heart to the point where I consider this to be one of my most favorite incarnations of the Caped Crusader ever. I'm talking about Invasion of the Secret Santas from Batman the Brave and the Bold, which was released on Cartoon Network on December 12, 2008. This was directed by Brandon Vietti and it was written by Adam Beechin. Ever since I was 16 years old back in 2008, which was also the year Batman the Brave and the Bold was released, I was in a phase where I thought that Japanese anime, any cartoon that aired in the 90s or even in the olden times, and even anime influenced animation were a whole lot better than the stuff that was currently airing on Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, or Disney Channel. I was in a time where I had rigid standards for what I thought qualified as good animation, and it also did not help that it was also the time that Toonami was canceled back in October 2008, only to be replaced by C and Reel back in mid 2009. Furthermore, even with decent Cartoon Network shows such as Chowder or The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, or even Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends still running on that said network, there was a part of me that felt like I was kind of dying inside because I was in that rigid mindset. And I was also extremely cynical of what was airing on television these days. Anything that was not Avatar The Last Airbender, Teen Titans, Samurai Jack, or even the Powerpuff Girls deserved a snide remark from me. Additionally, anything that was not Japanese anime deserved all of my snide remarks because at the time I thought that anything that was below my quote unquote standards deserved all my ire and all of my sarcasm, and at worst, all of my cynicism. When Batman the Brave and the Bold came out, I was extremely skeptical because there was a part of me that was very jaded at what I was seeing in Cartoon Network these days. Not all the shows were bad, mind you, but there were certain shows and certain directions that I felt that the network was taking that just didn't really resonate with me. And even as I gave Batman the Brave and the Bold a go, I thought it was just fun. Sure, it was nowhere near as great as Batman the Animated Series, let alone Justice League, but it still managed to keep me happy and entertained. As I grew up, even with more frequent watchings of this show, I became more appreciative of it, and I became a lot more affectionate towards Batman the Brave and the Bold. And nowadays, as a grown up, I have fully gained a much deeper and more profound appreciation for Batman the Brave and the Bold. In a way, this was the series that made me believe that animation can still be great as long as it has involving stories and characters you can root for. And that was what Batman the Brave and the Bold had. It also helped that it managed to combine the much more grittier tone of Batman the Animated Series with the lighter tone of the 1960s incarnations, whether it be the live action version starring Adam West or even the 1960s cartoon, and merge them together to create one heck of a memorable show. And it did so with aplomb, and to me, it was so surprising. Sure, a lot of people who preferred the grittier tone might have had fault with it, but anyone with a more open mind would find that this show can be enjoyable, and it can also be quite deep and human in its own special way. And this Christmas special managed to work its magic onto me, and it made me gain a further appreciation of Batman the Brave and the Bold, even to the point where Invasion of the Secret Santas engenders everything that I totally enjoy about Batman the Brave and the Bold. There is a formula that Batman the Brave and the Bold follows, in which it's divided into the teaser, the opening, and the main action going on in the entire show. The teaser is short and it is rather lighthearted, but it still maintains that formula of Batman alongside a fellow superhero battling the villain of the week. Then you got the opening, which is just totally cool and badass in its own way, as it was able to harken back to the 1960s opening of Batman, but add its own exciting flavor onto it. Then we get the main action, in which there is that combination of superhero action, a little bit of lightheartedness, and some territory in which it can be heavy, but it manages to tackle everything with tact and a whole lot of wit, charm, and a great amount of intelligent writing to boot, that makes the experience of Batman the Brave and the Bold all the more worthwhile watching. And going into the formula of this particular Christmas episode, it still maintains the topic of Christmas all throughout, with the teaser starting everything off at this bowling alley in which there is a Christmas contest involving bowlers eyeing for the big cash prize. That is until Sportsmaster and his goons interrupt the proceedings that he begins to play bowling his way. Batman and Blue Beetle stop him and his goons, rescue the players, and Blue Beetle kindly invites Batman to Christmas dinner alongside his mom. However, there is this one mantra that Batman states that engenders not only his philosophy of how he celebrates the holidays, but also his whole standing as a superhero. He believes that superheroes like him have no time for the holidays, and he knows that he always has to be there for Gotham, even when every single family is together during Christmas. The main action of Invasion of the Secret Santas does take place before Christmas Eve, complete with snow and festive cheer, as well as a lecture from Professor Alfoon, who is actually Red Tornado in his humanoid disguise. While he's giving a lecture, something happens in which a truck goes extremely awry, is about to crash two kids, but luckily for the kids, Red Tornado ended up saving the kids, returned them to Mr. Johnson, and they all express their gratitude, in which they know there might be that Christmas joy lurking inside Red Tornado's heart. But Red Tornado is really skeptical of what they mean about the Christmas spirit, in which he has yet to find out for himself. So he does read up on what it takes to make a great festive season from a book by Stuart Martha, which is also a very fun play of words on the real life Martha Stewart, such as decorating the house, putting on festive clothing, filling it with a lot of great holiday cheer, and even attempting caroling for random people, which unfortunately did not go too well for him. Just as he is about to watch the final moments of It's a Wonderful Life, a news interruption occurs as aliens from Neptune are about to invade the planet Earth. This leaves Batman and Red Tornado on the job to fight off said aliens, only to find out that these are actually toy aliens manufactured by the supervillain of the week, Funhouse. And to Funhouse, this is just the overture to the symphony of destruction he had in store. After his whole alien attack ended up failing, he gives Batman and Red Tornado a doll which is actually a bomb. Red Tornado whirls that bomb in the air as it explodes, and this is where Red Tornado tries to find out why Batman isn't that much of a holiday cheering person. And in order to give Batman that festive cheer, Red Tornado even gives Batman a present, which is a world's greatest detective mug. While that gesture is touching, it also brought up some rather painful memories for Batman. In the first flashback, he did remember having a very happy Christmas alongside his parents and his butler Alfred. And even back then, when he was a little boy, he still had that keen intelligence that defined him to be the person he is today. Funhouse returns with more attacks in the form of robot Santas that terrorize nearly everyone and which are also about to destroy both Batman and Red Tornado. Luckily for them, they were able to incapacitate the robot Santas. However, this doesn't stop there, as there is a boy crying. At first, Red Tornado believed that he was crying because of all the fake Santas. But the boy's father corrects him by stating that his son wanted the Presto Playpal doll, but it was all sold out. And the thing about the Presto Playpal action figure is that it is the most popular toy that any kid would want during the holiday season. And speaking of Presto Playpal, what Batman ended up getting for Christmas from his parents was a Nutcracker doll that he just looked down in scorn to the point where he smashed it. This in turn was another flashback that continued to haunt Batman and therefore skewer his perception of how he feels about the holidays. The final flashback occurs when Batman looks back at the time when he was at the movie house with his parents. Still disgruntled about receiving a Nutcracker doll from his parents, little Bruce remained despondent, even to the point where his parents decided that it's no use seeing the Zorro movie, so they decide to go home. As they were about to approach home, something terrible and traumatic happens. 2 gunshots are heard, and Bruce's parents were stone cold dead as he ends up wailing, "Mom, Dad." Clearly, this event traumatized Batman, and it was that very moment that made him develop such a bitter attitude towards Christmas, but that didn't make him a Scrooge. He assures Red Tornado that he just hates crime. With the holidays, he's just okay yet indifferent with it. And all these experiences that Bruce, aka Batman, went through as a kid were all engendered as to why he has a very indifferent and a sort of not so great view on the holidays, to the point where he even states that such sentiments of having that fuzzy feeling inside you, that tingly feeling whenever you think of Christmas, or all the joy and the importance of hope and faith, are all overrated to him now as a grown-up. Then we have the final confrontation, as Funhouse was also the one who created these Presto Playpal action figures. Much earlier, Funhouse stated that he has planted bombs in each of the action figures, but that was just a diversion for Batman and Red Tornado to get distracted, as Funhouse controlled the Presto Playpal action figures. And all of this comes to a head when the Presto Playpal action figures rob the children of their toys, and the final confrontation is looming. All the Presto Playpal action figures assemble as one giant robot, with Funhouse controlling said robot, and an epic fight ensues with Red Tornado using every bit and nanobite of his energy to blow Funhouse and his robot creation away, thus destroying it by the seams, sending Funhouse flying. And as soon as Red Tornado felt that tingling feeling inside, he ends up exploding, but at least he didn't end up dead. At least on a happier note, Funhouse ended up being arrested for his crimes, and at least Red Tornado is gonna end up being repaired. He even said to Batman that this tingling feeling inside made him feel all the more amazing, and as soon as Batman is about to return back to his headquarters, he receives a gift. And it's the repaired Nutcracker doll by Alfred. Though Batman is extremely thankful that Alfred has done such a gesture, he sticks to his mantra of what he has stated in the teaser. For Batman, there is still no time for celebrating the holidays, as he must stay vigilant. So this particular Christmas episode managed to make me fully appreciate Batman the Brave and the Bold for what it is. Sure, there were times that it had lighthearted moments and that it was fun, and it can be goofy at some occasions, especially where certain characters are concerned. However, that was just one part of what makes Batman the Brave and the Bold really worthwhile watching and cool in its own special way. The fact that it was able to balance superhero action in all of its badass glory with all the punches and kicks and throws you can ever think of, as well as all the confrontation scenes the heroes have with the villains, and even a lot of excitement and thrills that I managed to enjoy in every superhero show, and combine those moments of action and lightheartedness with moments where you get to feel for the characters, and even the heavier moments that make you realize that it's not all fun and games, certainly make episodes such as this all the more worthwhile watching. And as much as I hate sounding corny, it did manage to leave this tingly feeling inside me. This episode was quite masterful in terms of how it made me feel for Bruce, or Batman, when he was a child, and how his whole perception of the holidays were skewered because of his traumatic past, and why he had to put superheroism first before everything else, because it is that importance of duty that has defined him as Gotham's Caped Crusader. Aside from Batman and all the layers I've managed to understand about him as a person and not just a superhero, Red Tornado was just as fascinating as his co-hero because he was able to make me feel for him. Sure, even though he is a humanoid robot, he still wants to experience what makes Christmas such a special holiday, and he tries everything he can in his power to not only feel that sensation, but also understand that it's not just the giving that makes the holiday special, but what he was able to do in terms of sacrificing his life, not only to save his friend, but also to defend all the children who were robbed of their toys, managed to make him noble and therefore laudable in his own greatly special way, thus making me appreciate Red Tornado on a much more profound level. At the end of the day, Batman and Red Tornado managed to make me root for them, and they made me look up to them a whole lot more. And Batman the Brave and the Bold would be absolutely nothing without its great animation, complete with the colorful designs and absolutely wonderful character designs, wonderful plots, which managed to leave me glued to the edge of my seat, as well as fantastic voice acting. There is no doubt that we had Thomas F. Wilson, who is extremely well known for portraying a lot of jerkasses and assholes, use his expertise at playing all of these despicable characters to voice Sportsmaster and his macho bravado, Will Friedle using charisma, charm, and lovability to make Blue Beetle a hero we can all root for, and Gary Anthony Williams having a whole lot of fun and exuberance added in to the villain of the week, Funhouse. It was Diedrich Bader's and Corey Burton's show. I've mainly known Diedrich Bader in a lot of sitcoms, especially Curb Your Enthusiasm. I even knew him in a lot of big guy and large and in charge roles in animation. However, hearing him as Batman made me realize just how much he was able to use that smooth and velvety baritone voice of his to create his own interpretation of the Caped Crusader. Sure, whenever I think of any voice actor who could do the Caped Crusader justice, I will always go back to Kevin Conroy, not only because of the nostalgic value he had, but it was also because he was the Batman I grew up with, and I've always associated Kevin Conroy's own brand of virile and mysterious charm to make this Caped Crusader come to life. But with Diedrich Bader, he manages to come at a close second. He was able to emit that enigma and that mystery surrounding the Caped Crusader, and most importantly, he made it his own. He did not imitate anybody, nor did he need to impersonate other well-known portrayers of the Caped Crusader. He kept the ball rolling as he was, and he was able to make something rather unique in terms of this particular superhero. I would be a complete fool if I dared to underestimate how versatile and just how awesome Corey Burton is as a voice actor, and I thought he gave his finest performance as Red Tornado. Any other voice actor would make him a generic humanoid robot, but not Corey Burton. It takes a lot of tact, understanding, and a lot of working with this character to understand the nuances and the dimensions needed to bring this character to life and not just make him another stock character. And Corey Burton does just that. He gave Red Tornado not only his signature articulation and how he was able to use all of those technological lexemes with the greatest of his abilities, but he also brought in an innocence and a likability that made me root for Red Tornado, especially when he was trying to understand what is it that makes Christmas an extremely special holiday. And Corey Burton did so with authenticity and a whole lot of soul. Invasion of the Santas from Batman the Brave and the Bold made me root for this particular show with all of my heart and soul. It managed to make me love this show in a more profound way, and it not only made me respect the legacy that Batman the Brave and the Bold had, but it made me proud to be a fan of this particular show, and it is not going away from my radar anytime soon. And for those of you who caught Invasion of the Santas from Batman the Brave and the Bold, what'd you think of it? Did you really love Funhouse as a villain of the week, as well as all of his plans to dominate Batman and Red Tornado? Did you really enjoy the stories surrounding Batman and Red Tornado, whether it be Batman's tragic past involving his parents, or Red Tornado trying to understand what makes Christmas so special? Or did you feel like this Christmas special was not really to your liking? Comment below and let me know. Well, that's it for my tribute to Invasion of the Santas from Batman the Brave and the Bold. Tune in much later for my final tribute to a DC cartoon Christmas special that I've also been holding very close to my heart. And I shall be talking about Frozen Out from Static Shock. So until then, happy holidays, everybody!